recorded live from Random Secret Studios all over Philadelphia, the Delaware Valley, and even the East Coast.
I'm the capo. He's the prize.
And this is Sons of Ben, the pod. Welcome back to Sons of Ben, the pod. Adam, it is episode number Steve Carlton. That's right, Lefty himself, number 32. It's episode 32, and we've got a very, 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 very special guest this time. Adam, you would know him from Sirius XM FC. You might have read some of his works on ESPN FC.
I have.
He and Jared, or JD, are behind the all-new Best Soccer Show. And a tie-in locally, he is Jonathan Tannenwald's best friend. We've got Mr. Jason Davis on the episode.
Any friend of JT's is a friend of mine.
JT's a big friend of the pod, you know?
Love JT. Yeah, absolutely. Big fan of Jonathan Tannenwald.
Yeah, and
everything he does.
And I see he's a fan of yours. That's why I just think you guys should get a tandem bike and cover soccer all over the United States.
Can you just see them going down like the Schuylkill Valley Trail together, just, having hot soccer takes thrown back and forth in each other? I love it.
Well,
I don't want to make my wife jealous. Let's just leave it alone. Just
somewhere soon, there's going to be a GIF out there of JD and JT on a little mini bike a la Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, well, there's already a rather disturbing GIF going around of Jonathan Tannenwald. I don't know if you saw that. Did you guys see that?
We were part of the creation. That was on a broken Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure everybody is aware. I obviously I'm not part of that. I just saw it because Morgan tagged me, and I was like, okay, what are we doing
Morgan wanted
here?
to make sure everyone saw the beauty.
You can't have the initials JT without being like boy band GIFs, so that's just the way it goes. Yeah. So, Jason, I wanted to thank you for coming on. And just wanted to get kind of your take on things, such as how in the world are you living as a independent blogger, writer, podcaster, broadcaster covering soccer in the United States? Like, that's a feat unto itself.
How am I living?
Yeah.
Large. I'm living large over here. You guys don't even know. I mean, look, it took me a long time to get to this, whatever this is. And by no means am I just rolling around in cash. I'm not Scrooge McDuck. There's no swimming in coins, okay? This is... I'm not... but I'm also lucky enough to have gotten the radio gig, which is a big deal. I mean, it makes me one of the few people in this country who does have a full-time soccer job that didn't play or didn't coach, that kind of thing. I have to supplement it. I mean, it's why the Best Soccer Show came back. It also helps that I have that. And obviously I still write in a number of different places. So that's supplementing. But over the course of the last, I guess I went full-time in 2013. So over the course of the last 7 years, I've managed to find a way to get by. I mean, sometimes it's been lean, but I'm good. My wife has a very good job, makes a very good living, so I'm good.
No, it's great. I jokingly ask about that just because you're probably living the dream of a lot of people that are passionate about soccer in the United States, including, the MLS. And we talk to people all the time, and we can see, people we talk to, Morgan, that they want to make this their career. And I think a lot of people that listen are just trying to figure out, how does this work in a country that maybe this is the fifth most popular sport in the United States?
No, it's a good question. And I mean, look, the thing about the internet is that it cuts both ways. It makes it easier for everybody to get involved. So I started because I was sort of a frustrated writer, meaning I had always written and wanted to be a writer, and then my life got sideways, and college didn't work out for me, and all these things didn't happen for me. And I got to a point in my life when when I had a very young child, and I was trying to figure out everything where I was like, I want to do something. I had fallen in love with soccer. Hey, I'll start a blog. And in 2008, everybody started a blog. It was blogspot.com and wordpress.com and I don't even know, livejournal.com. Everybody was blogging. And it happened to be at that moment, because it was easy for me to get my stuff out there, that there wasn't a lot, and I stood out because I was a relatively decent writer. I'm not going to, blow my horn too much. I was okay, but I stood out because I was doing things that maybe other people weren't doing, and it got me enough of attention that, oh, okay, a couple people want to pay me to write. And somebody said, hey, do a podcast. And I had always been a radiophile anyway. I'd always wanted to do radio. I went to college with the idea of maybe doing radio one day, and it didn't work out, and I got sidetracked for 10 years. But a podcast, again, it's the democratization of the content allowed me to do that. And it sucked for a very long time. I'm not going to lie. The first couple of podcasts I did are atrocious, and I don't want anyone to ever hear them ever again. But I kept at it because I was stubborn, and I had a job I hated. So I had a motivation to be better at what this was. And I don't think I ever was like, oh, I'm definitely going to get a job in soccer one day, or I'm definitely going to turn this into a career. But I at least had the idea that I could make a little bit of money and make my life a little bit better. And so when I went into it, I tried really hard, and I never quit. And people say, why, how do I do this? What is the key? And I can tell them most of it is, if you start, don't quit, because if you give up, it's never going to happen for you. Also, don't expect to find success, whatever that means, in big ways right away. You're going to have to wait for a while for anything to happen. And then when it does, it's probably going to be someone giving you $50 for a piece that you write, or $100 for something else. And it's not going to feel like you're making it or you have a career in soccer. If you can't do both, and I had an okay job. All the budgets were very tight when I was younger and had a kid and a wife who's now in the past. Things were very different back then. And I had to squeeze, and it wasn't easy, and the relationship was bad. And there's a lot of things that went wrong in my life, but I always had soccer to kind of pull me along. It's not functional, it's dysfunctional. My attitude about doing this is always very dysfunctional, but it led me to come out on the other side, like come out of the darkness into the light on the other side. And the other thing I'll say, Matt, is that for everybody who wants to make it their job, remember that you want to make it your job, okay? Soccer's great. I love it. I'm so glad I get to do this. I really don't know what else I would do. But I have homework every single day. Like, I'm writing and I'm reading, and I don't have a moment to kind of turn off my brain. Now, maybe that's why I'm okay at this, because I don't know how to turn off my brain, but it also means that my relationship with the wife I love and am having another child with, or I'm having a second, her first, we sometimes butt heads because she's like, hey, stop looking at Twitter. Hey, stop reading that thing. And I'm like, but soccer never stops. What am I supposed to do? It cuts both ways.
Yeah, I can relate, just because being president of the Sons of Ben, yeah, it's a volunteer position, but it doesn't stop. And there are times where, my girlfriend, which she loves the group and the stuff, but it's like, oh, Friday night, we're going to go to a brewery to watch a game in Orlando. And you're like, yeah, I know you wanted to go to dinner, but this is kind of life. And and I'm glad you said your first podcast sucked, because I feel like that's why you're so comfortable with us right now. So I just wanted to, make sure you're comfortable with sucking
Matt, we're
podcasts,
great. Matt, we're great. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but listen.
Yep.
This, honestly, and I've told these stories a couple of times. This was early 2009 that I started. I had no equipment. I had you remember the PC mics were basically just a stick? It was just like a stick. And I had this terrible PC mic with little tiny stick, and then I created a pop filter out of like a hanger and some pantyhose. I mean, seriously, I was DIY to the nth degree. I could not have been more DIY. So it was bad. But again, like I at least was doing it, and I was learning how to make something better. And eventually, I raised some money, and eventually, I did it. I got better. The other thing I'll say about the making soccer your job thing, and the fact that it is work. When does most soccer happen? It happens on the weekend. Now, unless your significant others, your family, are going to allow you to go work every weekend while they work during the week, you're going to have some scheduling problems with your life. So just keep that in mind, too. I'm not trying to deter anybody from working in sports if they really want it, but it's not easy. It's not always fun.
This is a fun game. All right.
Yeah.
It's a
Sorry,
game. We can
Devin,
make this into a
you
game.
might want to give me a heads up. I think I cut out.
Yeah, you did. You froze. Yeah. But it was nice because I don't think you said anything at first, so then
all the words were breathing. Just lots of room to breathe. That's what they say about soccer broadcasters in America, right? They don't let it breathe. Let the
We
game
need more
breathe.
Ian Drakes, less Gus Johnsons.
Ian Drake, is that a new one? I don't know that guy. Ian Dark.
Sorry, God, Lord, I'm having a day.
Come on, I love
No.
Gus Johnson. I loved when he did soccer. It was terrible.
That was
but
the
I
most
loved it.
American thing of all time because you're just like, yes, I want to hear bang from someone getting a free kick from like outside the yard box. That would have been fantastic,
I feel bad. I feel bad for Gus though, because American sports you can rise like that. Soccer you
No.
can't rise like that because it's nothing. It went out of bounds.
I need Gus Johnson to do golf. I need that
Oh,
level of
man.
excitement for sports that normally don't have that. Gus Johnson doing cornhole.
The Johnsonville Brats.
Does better ratings than Major League
Look,
Soccer.
man, I was there for that day of the Ocho. I was a big fan of what they had content-wise. And cornhole, it was in King of Prussia, too. That was a local event, and I loved that. That was good times.
Now, speaking of new, well, it's not really new, but you and Jared brought back the Best Soccer Show, and you're doing that through.
We did.
It's the Soccer Collective, which some Union fans might know is Richie Graham, one of the owners and the founder of YSC Academies, passion project. So just wanted to know if you could shed a little insight on that and maybe get a struggling podcast an introduction to Richie, because we haven't heard from him,
I'm not sure I have a direct line. Okay, I'm just going to say that. I work through intermediator. How do you say that
Intermediates.
word? Intermediaries. Yeah, I talk for a living. Intermediaries. That's who I talk to. So I mean the Best Soccer Show coming back is also a passion project thing for me. Now again, the Soccer Collective signed us up. They're backing us. They want to push us forward. They want to add to the American soccer discussion, and that's fantastic. I would have done that show without them stepping in anyway. So it's great that we get the platform that they're going to provide us the production support and help us get guests and all of those things. I think it is excellent. The Best Soccer Show has always been my favorite thing that I've done, and I'm not doing the radio show. I wouldn't have done Soccer Morning, which was the thing that led directly into the radio show since I host that by myself, if I hadn't done Best Soccer Show. And the Best Soccer Show was, for me, the idea was always soccer podcasts can be dry. They can be overly analytical. On the other end of it, they can be less focused and somewhat meandering and all that. There's lots of things. Not every soccer podcast is bad, but I also think that a lot of people didn't treat soccer with a clearly American attitude. Like we for a long time, Americans were like, oh no, we have to do it very British, and we have to, and it was like, why we can't just be who we are and make a thing that speaks to us? And that's always been Jared's attitude too. So when we got together, we'll talk about the formation that Greg Berhalter is going to roll out for the national team, and we'll talk about the up and coming players, and we'll break those things down. But we're also going to have some fun. We're going to make some jokes. We're going to reference things that were important in our lives, and maybe you have to be of a certain demographic to get most of our jokes. But hey, it's fun, right? It's that attitude of we don't have to take the game overly seriously, even as we passionately love the game.
Well, we definitely
I
agree with that
appreciate
because
that.
we tout ourselves as not an X's and O's podcast, so we probably have more fun than we do discuss things. But I did tune in on Sunday.
So I can't come to you guys. I can't come to you guys and ask you what happens if Brendan gets sold and how they fill that hole and what they're going to still play the diamond and all that.
Not the diamond, but we will say
shrugging.
Paxton will be there. They just keep churning out
Randall
Aaronsons.
Paxton's coming.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
That's right.
This is when I get to finally do my Tony Fontana chant because we get Anthony Fontana to get his number 10 glory as we figure out the middle ground in between that.
Tony
Exactly.
Fontana. That'd be hilarious.
Look, man, I've had some rough names.
Say hello to my little friend. I'm sorry.
I've had some rough names. I've had a Medunyagen. I've had Barnettas. I've had Nagaras before. So to have a Fontana, that really works for my soul. That works for my brand
good.
here. So I'm happy.
Good.
Rolls right off the tongue. So I like I said, Sunday I saw you had the kid Brendan Aronson on.
We did.
I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed the interview. Thoroughly enjoyed watching this kid grow up, just because his media presence has gotten so much better than what it was last year. We had his father on last week, so that was actually great to see.
Okay.
But yeah, so just with
Well, I learned. This is what I didn't know. I didn't know going into that interview. I had seen a tweet somewhere. I think it was JT. I think it was Jonathan Tannenwald who tweeted something about another Aronson. So I know Paxton gets signed. I asked Brendan about Paxton. I go, "Oh, I heard you got another little brother." He's like, "No, that's my sister." I was like, "Oh crap! I didn't know it was a sister." But then he's like, "Well, no, she's really, really good." He was super nice about it. He didn't hate on me for not knowing. And really, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, why would I know that he has a little sister who's not in the Philadelphia Union system? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's when we get our NWSL team.
Yeah, she's apparently the most intense out of the three of them, according to everyone that's met the family. And Rusty told us on the pod that she is just super intense. Like, Brendan might let up if he's crushing you. Paxton will score another goal and run up the score, but she will like run up the score and tell you how badly you suck. So yeah, we definitely need an
Straight
NWSL.
killer.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, it's great. But the one thing that got my head rolling was just that you've seen so much MLS involvement. You know, we always go MLS 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, but your thought of the academy system paying off actually, and is this going to give the MLS the recognition and the legitimacy it needs with other leagues around the world?
Well, it feels like we are. It's like, you know, it's like the roller coaster, right? Like you're clicking up the hill. You're waiting for the drop. You know the drop is coming. You know the payoff is coming, right? It's 100% going to happen. It's just when is it going to happen? Especially if you get one of those with a super steep and you can't even see over the hill. You're like, we haven't crested yet. We haven't gone downhill. The Union haven't gone downhill, if you want to be specific. They haven't sold anybody. You know, they haven't said, and I know Jim talks about this consistently, like, this is the next step. We have to sell somebody. And obviously, Ernst Tanner comes to town with that mentality. I mean, he is German. He's from Europe. He understands the developmental process. And I think that clearly when they hired Ernst to take over for Ernie, they already had Jim Curtin involved. They kind of knew Jim's going to follow our program, whatever we want to do. They made this conscious effort. And it's also the background influence of that guy you already mentioned earlier, Matt, and YSC and everything else. But they have to actually pay off. And maybe Brendan Aronson becoming a star or rising to the level he did in Orlando and becoming this hot commodity is enough of a payoff that you can say it's working for the Union. And again, you've got Mark McKenzie and you've got Fontana and you've got Real and you've got Paxton Aronson coming through. And I think, didn't you guys just sign somebody else that I don't know anything about? So it's definitely there in numbers. And now it's almost like the Union have overtaken Real Salt Lake and FC Dallas, even in terms of their commitment to this. But just like, well, Dallas sent Weston McKennie, who didn't ever play for them, to Germany, or he went to Germany after being in their academy, and they sent Chris Richards to Bayern Munich. Although he hasn't risen to a senior level, he's definitely a talent. We know that. The Union haven't paid off that way. So we're going to see. And I think that Major League Soccer is just kind of, they're ready for it, but it's that last step, right? It's always the hardest one. Like you go up to the girl's door and you can like get yourself ready, but actually knocking on it and saying, "Hey, like what's up?" is a different thing.
We were
right?
talking we have a Union kind of happy hour every Friday. I think you've stopped by through one of those. Yeah,
I've been.
So
there.
we were
I've
talking about
there.
last week, and one of our guys, Dan, he works over in Japan and covers the J League over there, and he was talking about this week on how when a player is sold from one of the J League teams, they almost have an honor guard. Like if he gets sold to Europe, he gets flowers. Yeah. Like the team, all the players like stand and applaud as he walks through. It's like it's the most. This is the most cheesy, but it's like it's such an on-brand thing for Japan. But it's just like for MLS when they sold like when Alphonso Davies makes it, and he's now playing for possibly in a Champions League final coming up. The whole league is just like, yes, that's our child. Like I know he is Canada's and he is Vancouver's, but it's just like as a league we're all just like, see, we can do it. We can make world-class talent in North America.
Yeah, well, you have to have 1 before you can have 5, before you have 10, before you can have 20, right? We have to, and I think it's okay for American fans to kind of feel some ownership of Alphonso Davies, even though he's not American, and even though I think it's okay that in the system of Major League Soccer you can like that. But I was, when we talk about the massive talent that we sort of send abroad, whether it comes through the MLS system or not, we're kind of at this moment where we know it's there, we know it's got potential. In some cases, it's popping up. Tyler Adams is doing this, and Giovanni Reyna is doing that. But we're still not comfortable enough to be just confident and say, okay, yeah, we got this. Like, this is fine. Now, in terms of honor guards, and I don't know if that's something we want to do, but I do think if you are a developmental club and you are a selling league, then you should be able to celebrate those kind of things. The problem that Major League Soccer has always had is that even though it knows its place in the world, it always aspires to something much grander, right? I don't think the Japanese, only the J League is like, well, one day we'll be rivaling Europe. That's not in their mindset. They're like, we have a league, it's great. Major League Soccer is never, because we're American. We don't do that. We don't take second best. What are you talking about? No. We're going to be the best one day, and it might take us 40 years, but we're going to get there. And so then that thing is in the back of your head, and it says, well, don't sell your best player. Keep your best player here. Let him be a superstar in Philadelphia. I mean, you got a local kid, and whichever one, pick any of them. You got a local kid you can turn into a superstar. Yeah, that's a good thing for the league. At the same time, it obviously restricts the development of the player. He keeps the perception of American soccer down because a great player is not getting a chance to go to Europe. And, it's a difficult balancing act. If MLS is serious, and it was almost 2 years ago now, that Don Garber said in Atlanta at the State of the League thing he does before MLS Cup, he said, we want to start selling players. Maybe it was the All-Star game. It's one of the two things. We want to sell players. And I haven't seen it. Have you seen it? I mean, in actual, like, has anybody, who's been sold since then? Maybe Matt Miazga had gone right before that. Is there anybody else that okay, it's an American player coming out of an academy, or Alphonso Davies? I guess he counts certainly, but you're not talking about this kind of true movement. You're talking about little pieces here or there. It hasn't coalesced yet.
It's funny because you're getting into an area which is one of our favorite areas to discuss, is the management of the MLS. And I know we don't have a lot of time with you, but I wanted to ask you, just because we love talking about MLS and some of the quote unquote brilliance of marketing. I'm calling it MLS is back to Electric Boogaloo. The next 5 games, how are they going to keep this thing together in home markets, and what are your thoughts on this? Because we're all over the place. We're thrilled that it's coming back, but we're like, oh my God, we're just going to watch like 2 cars on ice going right at each other.
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're getting ready to watch a car wreck, right? Or there's some event, and the potential for disaster is pretty high. Like, didn't Fox do a bunch of those shows back in the day where it was like the whole point of watching the show was that guy might die? It's kind of that a little bit, and we want soccer. We love soccer. We want our teams to play. We want to be able to root for them. We don't want to be sitting here during a pandemic at home, quarantined or not, the summertime. We don't want to be missing out. I mean, obviously we can't go in every case, but we don't want to be missing out. At the same time, man, I don't know. I mean, you've seen what USL has gone through. They've had a bunch of games canceled. I don't know that I would call it a disaster on the scheduling front, but every time you put people together, you're potentially extending the life of the pandemic, right? Like, it's easy for MLS and USL and soccer leagues and sports league to go like, oh, whatever, we're not the government. It's not up to us. It's up to those people, the governor and the vice governor and the whoever. But at the same time, you have a responsibility. You are a citizen of the country, or your company, your league, your operation is a citizen of the country. You have a choice to make. And if you decide, and this is why we got so mad about Frisco, if you decide that you're just going to go with local guidelines and you put people in the building, we don't know if that's spreading the virus more, and if that's keeping kids from being able to go to school in Texas or wherever fans show up, or grandma dies because of COVID. We might not know for sure it's related to some spreading event that happened in soccer, but it's certainly possible. So every choice we make matters, and it's frustrating on that level because it feels like we while we want our soccer, we also want responsibility from the people in charge.
Completely agree.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's funny because we're, as fans, like, the Union are actually good this year. So we want to see a season. We don't want to waste this. But then again, is that responsible on our parts?
You don't want to be the Montreal Expos. You don't want to be the Montreal Expos of 1993. Was it 3, 4, 94, whatever it was.
God, yeah, when was? Yeah, I'm trying to think. See, when you say 93 in baseball, the only Canadian team we think of is Toronto, and it just traumatizes us.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So Toronto won 92, 93. They beat
Phillies in
the
93
Phillies
with Mitch Williams.
93. So the strike must have been 94.
It was 94.
It must have been 94.
So. Yeah, we definitely don't want to relive that. So that's kind of our crux. We're just praying for the best. But if Jim Curtin, to go to your Fox early TV days, if Jim Curtin comes out to a press conference in his underwear and no shirt, we know he's going to get arrested and tased like in Cops. So I guess that's our biggest concern, of just making sure Jim's fully dressed before he does a press conference.
Yeah, I mean, wear clothes. That's a good piece of advice. Just wear clothes. I mean, NYCFC's manager, what's his name? Ronnie Dela. He legitimately stripped after his team avoided relegation or something when he was coaching in Norway. That actually happened. There's video and pictures. I'm not saying go look at them because why would you want to? But
if that wasn't the greatest endorsement of promotion relegation in America, I don't know what was. We get Norwegian managers stripping here. Sign me up. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't want to see Bruce Arena stripping in any world. So that's.
We could do a reverse power rankings of managers of
we
MLS
don't want to see. Yes.
No, we don't want to see. No. Okay.
But
I'm curious to see.
Jason, we knew we had limited time with you today, so we wanted to thank you for coming on. Can you let everybody just go through the list? Where can everybody see, hear, read from you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The thing I would like to push most is the Best Soccer Show. And again, it's back, meaning not only are we doing the show every week, actually twice a week at this point, we're doing it under that name, so we're easy to find. It's the same show you remember if you were a fan before. If you never heard the Best Soccer Show, it's exactly what I described. It's all American soccer. We're talking MLS national teams, men and women, where we do a little bit of breakdown and stuff. We'll get into that. We'll also talk about the best dressed manager, and we would do that list. We would do the reverse power rankings of managers we don't want to see strip. Okay, that would happen on our show. So if you're in for that, if you want to actually hear that list, find the Best Soccer Show. It's on Apple Podcasts, and it's everywhere you find podcasts. And we're on Twitter at Besties Soccer, BESTIES Soccer, and Instagram at The Best Soccer Show. I'm on the radio, too. That's daily on Sirius XMFC. It's channel 157. If you have Sirius, you can listen to that. Obviously, mostly American soccer, too. It's lots of good guests. People that Dax McCarty was on the show today. We talk about whatever's happened in the world of soccer. So
shout out to Emily, by the way.
Shout out to Emily. Emily's the best.
On YouTube Live is must-see TV. Even when your producer's got a crap Skyline,
the Best Soccer Show.
Even when your producer's wearing a crap Skyline chili shirt, it's just must-see.
Oh, that's Nicky Soup and Sausage. Yeah, that's our producer, Nicky Soup and Sausage. He's great. He's a FC Cincinnati fan, does an FC Cincinnati podcast, a very good one. Michael Lahoud, former MLS player, on his podcast these days. So check that out if you got a chance as well. It's Cincinnati Soccer Talk. That's the name of it.
Yeah, we had Mike on recently, and it was a non-sobering experience for us all. It was great. It was must listen. So,
yeah.
Jason, thanks a lot again for coming on. And when this is all over, we got to have you come up to Philly and hang out.
100%. Love Philadelphia. Definitely got to get up for a game and a hangout.
Yeah, you and your best friend JT can hang out. It'll be great.
Oh, man. Good
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, want to thank Jason Davies of the Best Soccer Show, Sirius XM FC, for coming on and giving us some time. He had some family things that, as he explained in the show, living your life, making a living off of soccer in the U.S. kind of is a strain on your schedule. So we couldn't get him for the whole show, but we appreciate the time that he gave us. But back to regular schedule potting, as we like to say. Guess what, guys? We've got some news, but let's first thank everyone for the beer of the pods. Yards. 2SP, and of course the Larimer there in Chester. Uh, Speaking of beer, we got some beer news. You're going to hear it first. This has not gone out anywhere. The SOB beer is back. Um, Long story short, uh, Yards wasn't going to do it this year because of some of the stuff. They were cutting some other brands. And before COVID, we had some discussions with our friends at 2SP. And then COVID happened. And we're like, where's this go? And we had discussions, and our friends at 2SP are going to bring it back. They're going to bring us a new beer. It will be ready in mid October. With that, it'll be canned. Probably, I think, the 16-ounce big boys, because, you can't have too much of a good thing. And what we're going to do is we're going in the next week or two is reach out to the Sons of Ben members, have you submit what you would like to call this beer. And then the board will take a look at what we think is maybe the best three. And then we're going to have everybody vote on it. So you will have a hand in voting on what this beer from 2SP, the Sons of Ben new beer, is going to be. And then we're also going to try to announce, like, maybe have one of the members and a player go to 2SP and help actually brew this beer. So that's kind of the exciting news, that the Sons of Ben, not going to be Rowdy Ale this time, but the SOB beer will be back. We're going to continue that tradition. So I'm definitely excited, and just want to let you guys know that.
I appreciate that knowledge, Matthew. That was good, and I'm excited to have 2SP on board here because, look, man, the Sons of Ben must go on. The beverages must go on. How else am I going to show off to my other friends, supporters groups, that we have our own beer brewed by a brewery and not by someone in a bathtub and somewhere in Hoboken? Come on now.
Yeah, and the best thing is when we were talking to them, they're like, yep, we will get this out to Jersey. We will get this out to the counties. We will get this to Delaware. So everybody where the SOBs are, that's going to be in your stores. You're going to see it. So mid-October, get ready to go to the stores, screw the COVID, put the face mask on, and get out there and buy it. So that is the exciting news. And then on to regular news, we got New England on Thursday now. They switched it from a Friday to a Thursday. So I guess we got to start planning some viewing parties. And I know the Larimer's definitely having a viewing party. As of this time, I haven't gotten to talk to anyone else just yet. But the Larimer is also, so all you guys out there, ladies, if you can get to the Larimer at 6 p.m., there's actually, they're filming some B-roll footage for a local brewing show. So if you want to get your mug on TV for, a local brewing show, get to the Larimer on Thursday at 6 o'clock, and you too can be on TV. So 6 p.m. brewing show, get your mug on TV, and then you can go watch the Union whoop up on Bruce Arena's New England Revs. And man, I tell you, little teaser, Jim Curtin's quote, whoo, man, he was on fire today.
I can't imagine what he has to say to all-time American soccer legend Bruce Arena.
It was more directed to the players of New England and the culture that they have there.
Fair enough.
Just a teaser, yeah. So
love it,
guys. We mentioned Jason was part of Drunken Union Zoom. I'm sure Drunken Union Zoom is going to be more drunk and more zoomy than ever, since there will be a game on Thursday and they'll be able to discuss it on Friday. So if you want your link, get after Jared and find out how to get there and get on that Friday night action.
Shout out to how consistent that has been too, because that's going on for like 15 weeks now. Like we got a longevity in that. So well done by the team.
It's more consistent than COVID and wearing face masks. It really has been. So during the COVID period, it's been more consistent than just about anything except constantly drinking because of COVID. But
no, the alcohol sales in America have been the most consistent thing going on. That and Amazon packages.
Yeah. Amazon and Peloton deliveries. I see that Peloton van more than I see the 6 ABC van.
Look, man, I'm thinking about it, but like in my building, they actually have Pelotons already. So like they just opened the internal gym. We actually have also a City Fitness built into the place, but like the building itself has a gym. They just opened that, you go in by appointments. There's only about 5 people at a time. I'm still a little hesitant, but yet my boxing gym is now open, and I'm completely okay with that because beforehand it was like weirdly social distancing anyway. So
Yeah, true. So, and then the last thing, I guess, Devin, this is your time to shine, man. Go
This is
on
it.
about that Discord, that Discord action that we got.
we got
Not only have
Discord
you-
action, yo.
We've been it's action right now. Not only have we been talking about Union stuff, but been watching the Flyers games together. Been watching whatever is these Sixers games, whatever is going on there. But it's a lot of fun.
Okay,
in there.
okay. Wait.
Uh-oh.
I have
What
to
have I
pause
done?
you, Devin.
Oh,
Coming at my
man.
boys. You
Uh-oh.
leave them alone. Okay. They had 14
I'm sorry,
turnovers in
they've-
the first half. That was less than ideal. But you
They've-
saw them clean. You saw them clean it up in the second half. They only had 5 turnovers. All I'm saying is they play second half basketball. They're beating the Celtics tomorrow.
Oh, they're beating the Celtics tomorrow. Is that right?
I'm gonna find you.
All
I'm gonna
right.
find you, Devin. I vaguely know where you live.
So in the we're just gonna try to push right past that, keep the United pod front. Before, we've got a little bit of Union, or not Union, but really MLS news, and I'll let you guys kind of start it off before I weigh in. But my notes just say Dallas being Dallas, so we had a little Dallas Nashville back-to-back.
Hold on. Cut it here. I'm playing the music.
You're the jerk of the week. You're a jerk and it's your week. You really outdid yourself like a crazy super jerk. You're probably a big jerk every week, but this week you're the jerk of the week. Oh yeah, you're the jerk of the week. I'm looking at you, buddy.
Look. All right. Here's the thing. As I like to caveat everything. All we know is there may be like 3 to 5 people this might even apply to. But because of the small amount of the crowds at Dallas, it might be a larger population or a smaller population. I don't know. But here's the thing that I find interesting about all of this. And look, whatever your stance on the kneeling, the Black Lives Matter, the anthem, all that stuff, we can have those conversations so we're blue in the face, and I am here for them. But the irony of these people booing and one human throwing things onto the field, like that ain't more disrespectful to the flag? Like that wasn't infinitely more disrespectful to the national anthem? It's like you're literally booing it. You're literally in the middle of it booing. I mean, look, man, I don't make the rules up. I'm not the morality police. I'm just here to observe things and kind of comment. This is why Devin gave me a microphone by an accident, I'm almost assuming. But look, man, I'm all for different opinions. I just want everyone to point out delicious irony when it's presented in front of them. And this is as tasty as a De Bruno's prosciutto. Like, I'm killing you, man.
And not only, all right, so you can talk about that part, but can we also give a little asshat of the week here to FC Dallas themselves for their amazing statement that they tried to throw out there, and then the definition of rolling things back, having to put out a second statement because maybe they realized they fucked up. Maybe.
How are you this dumb in 2020? You have PR departments. How do you even how do you do this in 2020? How
did the Dallas Beer Guardians, the supporter group for Dallas, have a better statement than the effing team?
Routinely,
Yep.
this happens, Matthew. And you see this all the time. Supporters groups routinely have better responses to this stuff than their own clubs.
Yeah, it's it was one of those things that I'm like, oh, maybe I'm glad that we aren't going to be there live because I don't need Philly having a black eye like this. Then again, I don't think we're as stupid as Dallas, but you never know in these times and ages. But yeah, apparently,
Unfortunately, though, the worst part is, like Adam said, this was probably 2 to 3, maybe 5 people, maybe. It was probably a small amount of people, but
A
the fact that it's
smattering,
even
if you will.
happening,
But,
the
but
fact that
what,
it's even
what is that in
happening.
the percentage? What was there? 50, 60, 100 people there?
Yeah,
So 2 people,
exactly.
that's a
Yep.
percentage. That's listen, this is part of the country that don't want to wear masks. This is part of the country that, want to be able to buy bazookas in Walmart with a freaking burger. So
And here's the thing: on the flip side, if this game was played in Austin, I think there might be a completely different reaction to this. If this game was played in Houston, there would have been no fans, so nothing would have mattered there anyway. But still, and here's the thing: I'm not against. Everyone's allowed to express themselves. That's like the thing about the America thing. Like, I'm not against. Like, even the people who booed, I'm like, you're allowed to do that. That's fine. You're allowed to. I'm just telling you what you're booing. First off, because what you're genuinely booing is a bunch of gentlemen just saying, "Hey, it'd be really cool." In lack of racial injustice, that's just it. That's all we're asking for. Just a little more transparency on how our police systems and our government works for us as a people, since we've been here for over 400 years. But that's aside. That's what they're booing. But then you're also saying it's disrespecting the flag. What are you doing, sweetie? Like, what do you think you're doing right now? I was like, well, it wasn't directed at the flag, and I'm like, oh my god, now you get it.
yeah. And you can't have and the whole purpose of the kneeling, just like the whole purpose of playing the national anthem to honor America, is to have a discussion. And you can't have a discussion if you're fucking booing, because you ain't listening, you're just booing. So sometimes it's like turn off the mouth, turn on the ears, maybe have a conversation and understand what's going on. Like, in this day and age, you can research stuff. You can Google it, even in Dallas. Dallas has got Google. I've used the internet in Dallas. They could better themselves a little bit.
It's a fine city too. I mean,
No,
and
it's a
that's the thing.
shithole.
And it's got some problems. But like what I'm saying is, like, we have just enough of, like, but that's like, and I don't even want to go political with it, but real quick, that's why it's never been about the flag. If anyone wants to know why the discussion has always, like, that's why it's never been about the flag. These people are never there when they talk about disrespecting the flag. That's not what they're mad about. That's never been what they're mad about.
Can I ask you guys, because honestly, I to this moment I have forgotten what was the result of the 2 games, because I really was like,
Oh my god.
I couldn't care less about watching Dallas or Nashville, just because I feel like I may catch COVID from watching those 2 teams.
There could not have
like,
been a more boring
ahead.
2-game series in the history of soccer. It was what, Nashville 1-0 and then a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
Ay.
It was everything good about the MLS back tournament was like just washed away from that garbage. I mean, I didn't know what happened, but I was like, I can't watch. Like, I've been watching all kinds of soccer, like any live sport. I've been like, yes, I won. And I was looking at that and go, yeah, I think I'd rather watch some NBA right now. The replay of something.
But on top of it, it's just like, man, I know they're about to bring these guys back, and of course I'm going to show up to the Latimer on Thursday. Hope to see y'all there. But it's just like, man, what are we doing? We're going to play these 5 games, and then what? We're going to see if we can play 5 more, and then we're going to see if we can play 5 more, and then what? Are we going to eventually put like some standings together? We're going to say that there's a playoffs coming, and there's going to be an MLS Cup of some sort. Like, what are we, like, here's the thing. All right, and I'll do this real quick because I know we've already had a long podcast to begin with. But it's just like, I've been watching. I'm a 7 for 9. Like, I'm a 9 for 9 Philadelphia sports fan. So if they put Philadelphia on the jersey, I'm watching it. I get Wings texts every day. The Philadelphia Barrage came back, and I'm hype as shit. But I'm saying, like, when I'm looking at the Flyers in the bubble and I'm looking at the Sixers in the bubble, I see what they're trying to do and how there's an end game. I see that in a month and a half from now, the 76ers will either be in the Eastern Conference Finals or not. I know that the Flyers are going to try to be competing for a Stanley Cup Finals a month and a half from now, too. I know what their end games are. I have no idea what MLS is doing because, like, they gave me 5 games. and 5 games within a corridor market, which fortunately works out for North America or for the Northeast because we all live 7 degrees apart from each other. So your farthest bus trip is freaking Boston, so you're good. But I'm looking at the rest of the MLS and I'm like, how is LA supposed to do all of those games, you know? And how are all these teams supposed to travel with all these? And then what is schedule integrity? What is competitive balance? You know, what is strength of schedule? Like what is any of this?
So I think this season, like, there's 2 parts to this, right? We want to say that this season is going to be a non-asterisk season. It's going to be a normal season. We're going to get a champion, and we don't want that champion to be any less than other championships, right? So there's that part, and then there's also the part of like you're saying, we just want to play games, right? And we just want to get games played. We want to get standings at the end of the season. Yes, we want all that, but unfortunately, I think that's going to take away from strength of schedule type of things where it's not going to be even across the board. We're probably going to play 75% of a normal season in a regular season. So it's like, what kind of things do you want to sacrifice in order to be able to have a season? And I think that's where everything kind of gets a little messed up. So,
well, and the only thing I can add to that is, and I mean, I'm going to be a wise ass, of course, but the MVP of this season might very well be Red Bull Arena's turf. Because I don't know how they're getting through 15,000 teams playing on the damn thing. Like,
Which is a
it's some
farce.
things I just question. Some of the things MLS does.
That's
I
a
wish they were playing in a
farce.
bubble. I wish they could figure that out. But you know, and here's the thing: I don't want to kick it because I'm excited. Like we said in the beginning of the show, the Union are good. I want to see this season because they're good. They're a top 4 team in my mind. Argue with me all you want. They're a top 4 team, so I want to see them play. So I'm excited for taking on Bruce Arena's fat ass and New England. And you know who else is excited about this? Did you look at the press conference today, Adam, Devin?
I was busy watching the Flyers take down the Montreal Canadiens. Hey, Devin.
as was I.
Look,
So this was, you know,
Yeah.
I got glimpses from the live feed on the thing, and it might have been Joe Tansey was bugging Jim about asking, you know, like, could he touch on the intensity of the rivalry between New England and the Union? And you know, you could tell Jim was a little triggered. It was just, you know, he wanted to get home, see the family, but his quote was, "I don't know if those guys on that team are jerk-offs, or if that's what they need to do to get ahead in that organization."
look, man, Jim is not holding back the punches. And here's the thing. We've dominated New England. The Union have had a very interesting life schedule. I mean, lifespan in MLS. But there's very few teams that they've actually come to blows with and have been successful more often than not. New England is by far one of those teams. So, like, and here's the thing. I agree with you, Matt. I do believe the Union are a top 4 team, which is why I almost feel like and obviously I'll jinx it because it's Philadelphia. Anytime you start feeling good about any of these teams, they start screwing up for you because that's just how the world works and God hates us. But I find it interesting that, like, if the Union just have to play the Northeast Corridor, Jesus, that's a lot of points they got. That's a lot of points they can win because, like, none of those teams are good. Like, none of those, we saw the MLS's back tournament. None of the New York teams are good. New England's kind of crap. And, like, I say this and we're going to lose, but, like, New England's kind of crap. DC's not that great. Toronto's okay. But, like, if you're just going to play Northeast Corridor games for the next, like, 2 weeks, like, the Union could win all of those games. Like, authentically win. And then they're, like, now the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference or the playoffs that I don't know when is happening. And then, like, what's an off season? Are we in a transfer window right now? Are we
are.
You want to know what an
Are we
off season
selling?
is? Look at Europe right now. Look what that off
You
season
got a
looks
2-week
like.
vacation
Because-
like normal people.
And if you're in the Champions League or Europa League, you don't. You get a week, maybe.
Now,
Is Lyon and PSG cheating because they've been off for 3 bleeping months?
See,
They've had their
there's
legs are not
there's that
tired.
argument, but there's also
They
the
could be
argument of
rusty,
because they haven't been playing, they're not fit to play,
Yeah.
and yada yada. So.
Now, real quick, back to the MLS, back to the Union.
I'm just saying.
Predictions. What do we got, guys? Philly, New England, Thursday. What do we got?
You can go first, Devin.
So remember when Mike was on the pod? He was talking about how they played Kansas City like a week before they played again a second game, and how the first game Kansas City learned all their tactics and used it against them in the second game. I think there's a possibility we see something
Yes.
like that. Just because you can talk as much as you want about Bruce Arena, but he's not a dumb coach. But I'm gonna say a draw, because I would never come out here and say a Union loss, because who would ever do that on a podcast? But I will say, give me a 2-2 draw. Give me a 2-2 thriller draw there.
Adam?
3-1 drubbing, and it's 3-0, and they get an extra one as a consolation goal. They're not good. Like, New England's not good.
I agree. I agree that they're
New
not
England's
great.
They're not good.
All right,
No, they're not good. And then, like, the MLS's back tournament is a farce. That's why Orlando got to the bleeping final, because they're not good either. And it's just like, look, man, I saw that, like, the Union were not playing nearly as good as they possibly could. And we all knew this. Everyone said it. Jim even said it himself. We should have beat New England for bleeping nothing. They're not good. 3-1 in their own house in Foxborough.
My prediction, they're going to whack them like they're in a South Florida shopping mall.
You're going to need a new joke soon, sweetie. It's
No,
a good
well,
joke, but
I-
you're
I
going to
got-
need a new
I
one
got-
soon.
That's got legs. Trust me.
It's
got
gold,
legs, so-
Jerry, gold.
Anyhow, just in our other news, we started to touch upon. We can talk a little bit Champions League, little transfer window. Devin, you got some exciting news for your Tottenham Hotspurs. You have now got must-see TV in the tunnel with Joe Hart coming on a free transfer to your Tottenham Hotspurs. You've got probably one of the most mentally unbalanced goalkeepers in Europe back at White Hart Lane. How are you feeling, man?
I can't wait to see him be the third string goalkeeper and never see him play a minute this season. But it's great. It's great. Yeah, great.
And then Punch almost made it to the Barcelona job, but yeah, that got sidelined faster than Punch's career at Tottenham.
Can we get this here, Matt? You keep calling him Punch. You've always called him Punch. It's Potch. Please.
Listen,
I've dealt with it this long.
If Adam can mispronounce Larimer, I can mispronounce your fired ex-coach, okay?
First off, and the only reason why I mispronounced the Latimer is I just keep believing there is a T in there for reasons I can't understand. It is a problem I have with vernacular, and I don't know what my issue is. I probably need to see some more of a speech coach.
And I
But
still think
ultimately,
Devin's former manager was also on chips, and it's Punch,
that's
okay?
what I'm saying. I was the whole time waiting for him to reference the fact that he got it from chips. Like, that was the joke the whole time, Devin. And you're just have you ever seen Chips, Devin?
No.
Good, because you're way too young to have ever seen that very ill-fated show about California Highway Patrol.
You are missing out on 70s gold, my friend. 70s television at its finest. There's $6 Million Man,
Oh, boy.
Charlie's Angels, and chips.
Look, how
It's-
much do you
it's-
not love Eric Estrada?
Yeah.
You know,
I know.
that is a
So-
classic.
And other news, here's the rumor that's been going around. Speaking of Barcelona, I hear the Argentinian Aronson wants to come to the MLS now. Anybody else hear those rumors?
Man, here's the thing. It's going to be really sad when Luis Suarez totally goes to Miami, though. And then, like, Messi just like, I'm going to go to, like... Wait, actually,
Utah?
No, I'm actually really curious to see where Messi does go, because it's just like, he has to go someplace great. So does he just go to, like, where does he go? Man U? Does he go, like...
Yeah.
Like,
Here's
is,
the thing.
what's his upgrade?
His current release clause is $700 million. Anybody want to pay that? And that's fine. They can find a middle ground there, because they're just going to lose him for free anyway next season. But Yeah, it's not.
How much
it's,
does he like
It's
West
going to
London?
be only a club that is going to be willing to throw like 100, 200 million at the
He
wall.
pays less than that in taxes. What are you talking about,
Yeah.
man?
Look, man, how much? Look, does he enjoy West London? We got oil money, man. You know, we
That's
we
what it's
got
going to be. It's
tycoon
going to be a
money.
team with oil money. That's it.
Yeah.
Look,
But,
but here's but you know, they're at the same time. I think isn't the EPL looking for a salary cap right now? So
it's you hear that, and then it reminds me of my favorite Jeffrey Lurie story ever. Apparently, the owner of the Eagles years ago went on Roman's yacht and proposed to Roman and his number two that Jeffrey gets all the owners of the NFL together, and as a unit, they buy all the EPL teams together, and then they could install a salary cap. And he was from everything I heard, he was dead serious about that. He thought this was great to control the spending of the EPL. And Roman didn't say anything. Roman didn't even like put a silencer on his gun to shoot the stupidity out of him. His number two guy was just like, yeah, you know what would happen then? All the good players would go to Italy or Spain or Germany because they don't have a salary cap. So
but
there's
Italy
no way
doesn't
there's
have
any
money to
salary
pay
cap
them.
in no one in Europe soccer is going to institute a salary cap without just shooting themselves in the
No,
foot.
but
you know?
but here's the realness about this, and this is the reason why the French league has never gotten beyond like fourth or fifth best league in the world. They don't have any money to pay these guys that kind of money
Yeah.
either. Like the Italian league is broke. You know how many loans Juventus had to take out just to get Ronaldo? Man, it almost bankrupt Fiat. They had strikes in Italy because they bought Ronaldo but had to lay off workers at the Fiat plant. That's like legitimate. So it's just like, man, the problem with all of this money is and soccer money has gotten to as like as biggest ridiculous levels, especially with like these like signing clauses and all this stuff. But look, Messi ain't gonna no one's gonna buy Messi for 700 million. They're gonna buy Messi for like 300, 400 million because he's going to talk that down because eventually he's just going to start refusing to play.
Yeah,
and Barcelona is just going to be like, whatever. And if they're going to pay $80 million for Kepa, they're going to pay $300 million for freaking Messi.
What if Tottenham just signs over the deed to their stadium to Barcelona? Would that cover it? Could they give them a second mortgage?
Look, Tottenham just needs to sell the stadium to the Jacksonville Jaguars, like we all know is the inevitability of that stadium and facility, because Tottenham can't afford it, and the Jags are coming to London, so let's just cut out the middleman here and just give them the stadium already.
So I think we solved all your problems there, Devin. It's, man, this has been an eventful pod, that's for sure. And, I think we solved some issues. We made some predictions. We got news of the beer is back, and of course we had Jonathan Tannenwald's best friend in the world on as our guest. So
here's the prediction I need from you, Matt. How many fake Jim Curtin quotes until we get canceled? How many is?
Considering we don't have a sponsor, this can go on forever. Now the better question is, how many fake Jim Curtin quotes until I get a phone call from Jim to tell me to knock it the F off?
Yeah, I was like, do you think he's heard any of these yet? Because I'm a little concerned. I don't not concerned, but just a little.
I'm nervously looking forward to when I see Jim in person again and just see if he looks at me and gives me that look of like, you ass clown, you know. So
look, I don't think a coach likes talking about the masturbation habits of an owner on another team. But hey, sorry, not even masturbation habits. I think it's just actually just getting jerked off. Yeah, I don't think they usually talk about that. But hey,
I think. Real Jim, real Philly Jim, likes these quotes and wishes he could say this. So I think it's an outlet for Jim. That's why he's been DMing me his quotes, you know?
You are Jim Curtin's Luther translator, and I love it.
The old Key and Peele bit.
There we go. So anyhow, guys, episode Steve Carlton is in the books. And I will see everybody hopefully at the Larimer on Thursday. So everybody stay safe and wash your hands.